Welcome back, guys. Will Robinson here from Robinson's Auto Tools and Time.com. Today in the shop we have this 2004 Dodge Ram 1500 with the 5.7 Hemi. Power steering pump needs to be replaced. Pretty much the owner just wants the power steering pump replaced, so we're going to get in there and we're going to replace it. Steering is really tight. You can hear the whining from the pump. The pump is full. Pretty common problem on these startup. Super tight turn. You hear the noisy pump. Tried a few times to bleed the air out of it. Very weak pump, but right there she has all she can do to turn that wheel. And you can see she's just over straight. But if I take a little bit of pressure off the front end, now turn. Other way. So I believe they came to the right conclusion. So we're going to jump in there, we're going to replace the power steering pump. So without further ado, let's move to it. Alright, the first thing we want to do is remove the serpentine belt. So we just take this here. It's a 3/8. We're going to pull it towards you. At that point, we take and remove the belt. Take note of the routing, and we'll set it over here. You see right down here is your power steering pump. I already have the reservoir cap off with us checking the fluid, and it is full. And as you've seen, I did try to bleed it. However, I think the damage is done. Okay, to drain this power steering pump, we could remove the return hose from underneath and drain it into a bucket. However, I do have a fluid extractor, so that's what I'll be using today. I'm just going to suck the fluid out of it. This will save us in the long run, yeah? Now a lot of this you can get from up top, but since I have a lift, I'm going to raise it up and take the hoses off from underneath. But if you look down in, I'm not sure if you can see it from there, but you see you'll have two hoses. You'll have the big rubber hose, which is the low non-pressure hose, per se, the return. And we're going to take and, that's just a hose clamp on that one, and the high pressure hose is on the bottom of the pump. And we'll be removing that as well. Upon first inspection, I noticed that it's really wet. And if I follow the hose up, it appears that it's coming down from up high around the power steering pump where the reservoir mates up to the pump. There is an O-ring there that's potentially compromised, and that would explain a lot. If there's a leak there, there's suction, and that could be sucking in some air. You see where this turns here? You'll have all your bolts. You'll be able to get through there with a 13 millimeter. Alright, that's a good sign. That one's good. Yeah, another one. They all three line pretty much up. They line up one hole. Okay. That one's going loose. That's a good sign. Right here. Alright, I'm going to hit it with some PB Blaster, the high pressure line right there. 16 millimeter. Got to come loose, but the thing is it's frozen on the line. Yeah, that ain't gonna come up here. That's the problem. That's going to be the problem. Chances of that are slim to none. That's twisting the line, isn't it? Alright, we're not having any luck with this high pressure line. Plus the way it's rusted right here, is super thin in that one spot. So I'm not really liking that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the pressure sensor there. Where's the pressure sensor? I believe I get to it from here. I don't know if I can do it with these pliers. It's just so hard to reach up there. So I'm going to take these pliers here. I'm going to squeeze that plug. Unplug it like so. Like I said, that line is twisting. So we're going to have to order a new line because I am not going to be able to get that off without damaging it. I can guarantee you that much. I'm just going to break this line off. Tired of messing with it tonight. There it goes. See how rusted it was right in that spot anyway? So that would have just most likely blown on me anyway. So that's all I would need is to put this thing together and have that line blow. Shine a light up here where I'm gonna break it next. It's gonna be hard to see up on the rack where it goes, but there's a short piece of metal line and we're gonna break that off so I can get a socket onto it. So I want to get this all apart tonight. Just gonna pull down on that. Yeah, this line is so rusted along with everything else on the truck. And hopefully you've seen what I did there. Right there. So it's here back. Let's see if we get. It's that line I was telling you about. Are you ready? Because it's gonna dump fluid out. It would be much worse if we wouldn't have sucked it out, you know. So that's actually minimal compared to what it could have been. And we could leave that hose on there, finish zipping those 3 retaining bolts out. It's gonna want to drop on us now, so pull my ratchet out. I think I can pull this right up the bottom since we're down here. Like you said, most likely you'd be doing all this from the top. There she be. All right, now we're over at the bench. I still got to remove the high pressure line from the rack. However, I want to prep this power steering pump. That way Tammy can start cleaning this up for us. But we're going to have to reuse this reservoir because the pump they got that I believe we'll be using doesn't have the pulley or the reservoir on it. So I'll be showing you how to remove and install the pulley along with the reservoir. So it looks like a Phillips set. And you know how this goes. It's probably too big. It's probably one. Oh, that's good. Should have put these gloves on a while ago. I just noticed I'm getting a little. Let me give that a little tap. I got a guy that doesn't like seeing me not wearing gloves. Just got this little hammer. Works better than any penetrating oil. If I could bottle this, I would sell it to you. believe this just slides out like that. And this O-ring, I believe, was leaking a little bit. Either that or the pump itself, because let's show you. I believe the pump was leaking a little bit. You can see how this is all dark. Oop. And then here you can see it's all wet around the backside. So I believe I got to reuse this bracket as well. We can take and spin this the rest of the way out. I'm sure we'll need them. Alright, feels like a T30. Use an impact. Let me see my ratchet, please. Okay. That one wet. That one wet. That one I don't like the way it feels, so. There it goes. Hopefully it can. Alright, let's pop the pulley off. Using an OEM kit. Alright. Like so. Looks square. Something's gone. Abracadabra. Alright, so this is ready to be returned for the core. I need this sensor out of this 9. 7/8. Alright, we're good. Alright, easy peasy. Try not to get any rust in there, but as you can see, there's a O-ring seal. Get the new line. Alright, make sure everything's nice and clean, guys. I used a regular black O-ring that I had in stock. But since the kit comes with a new O-ring for that, we'll roll this one back off. And at this point, guys, just hit this on a wire wheel or take some Scotch-Brite to it. Something. I have a new O-ring that came with the kit. Abracadabra. Don't forget. God forbid. Alright. Now you don't have to kill this because remember, there's an O-ring in there. I think for now, I'm just going to put this lower O-ring on. And I'll leave the other one in the bag here. And we'll just put this one into the rack, into the steering gear, I guess you'd call it. And then when the new pump comes, we get it installed. Then I'll slide that O-ring on, That way we don't lose it. Before we go much further, I want to get this prepped. And you'll see where we broke that line off. Right there. It's an 18 millimeter. And we're going to take and zip that out of the rack. That's the racking pinion that it's going into. That's the high pressure hose. There she is. I know you guys won't be able to see me put this on 100%, but we'll just get it up in there. New O-ring. And we'll get it snug, but we'll leave it a little loose until we position everything, you know what I mean? Alright, as you can see, it's in there, but it's loose. That way I can swivel it. Okay, so we got our rebuilt pump. Clean this for me.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Now we're going to take and install the pulley onto the pump. Get her started straight. Okay. And then hopefully you can see this. You want to find the right adapter. I believe it's this one. Okay. I'm going to take the last one off that we used. I'm taking run this up. So you want to make sure you got this screwed in as deep as you can get it. Okay, right about there. Then we'll run this down. Right, that looks straight. And then we'll just clamp her down. And you'll go right till this bottom's out. Right there. Came to a stop. Perfecto. You'll see it'll go flush. There, now remember, the hose faces down, this faces upwards, and as you know, the 3 bolts, just like so. Tight. Alright. Well, the remanufactured pump also came with a new O-ring for the hose, and they came with 2 new O-rings for the reservoir. Replace these 2 O-rings, one larger one smaller one. So we got the one large O-ring, that'll go on first like so, and then we have the next one smaller, that'll get rolled onto there like so. And we'll take a little bit of our oil, ATF4. Oh, there it goes. So it is a little bit of a tight fit. You do got to push it down and you'll feel it pop in. We're going to take our 2 bolts, put it through. Another one, put it through. Good. Good. A quick summary of what I think may be causing the noise and the problem that the customer was experiencing. Was it the seals that are feeding the pump that were leaking, creating air to be sucked in? Possible cavitation issue, foaming of the fluid? Yes, very likely could be one of the causes. Could it be a weak pressure relief spring, a bypass spring, broken spring inside that pump? That's another possibility, allowing the fluid to be bypassed under a load under normal driving conditions. Similar to what you hear when you turn lock to lock fully one way with the steering wheel, you hear it start bypassing in the pump. That's another potential issue. A lot of these things could have been seen with the pressure test. However, with the leak being apparent the way it was, the pump had to come off. At that point, we're just gonna kill all the birds with one stone, for lack of better words. Take a look. What I was trying to show you up inside the vehicle. If you line up these 3 spots like this, you get right to the heads of the bolts that retain it up into place. I put this up in, so I'm going to just start the bolts. Okay, so it should make life a little easier. Alright, let's give this a shot. Try to fish it up in there. Alright, so we got all 3 started. Alright. Just hit that with a regular ratchet, make sure we're good. Okay, that was good. Okay. Okay, that feels good. Well, that was very weird, guys. I just seen a piece of plastic sitting up here. Looks like an old power steering pump pulley. Makes you wonder why that was off before. Good question, right? Pull this plug out at the bottom. Got this here. Let's take and slide our new O-ring on. Got a little lube on her. Name up. I know everything's probably in your way. This video has probably the worst shots ever. I'm going to keep on trying. Because I know it will help somebody someday. Alright, 16 wrench. Try to hold it in a good position. Alright, that feels nice and tight. There you go. That's back in. Okay, she's tight. Alright, it's officially tight. Okay, next we're going to prepare ourselves to flush the system because we still have some contaminated, dirty fluid inside the rack and pinion and in the lines and in the cooler. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to leave the hose disconnected, as you've seen, that comes down from the reservoir that would normally hook up to the oil cooler. We want to plug that because I'm going to top the reservoir off with fluid, and if I don't plug this, the fluid is just going to run out the bottom. You can see I found a bolt. It fits in here pretty nicely. Pushing in pretty far. There's not going to be any pressure on this side. This is the side that goes up to the reservoir, so you're not going to be too worried about that. Okay, then if you look up here, the side that would normally hook up to that hose and return to the reservoir, we're going to take and put a piece of 5/8 hose onto that. That's the oil cooler, well, power steering cooler, return side. So the pressure from the pump is going to go through that cooler and want to return to the reservoir, but we want to flush that into a drain pan or a catch can to flush out at least a quart. I'll probably put a good quart through it and call it a day. Install the belt. It's pretty much still routed, all except for the power steering pump, which you can see. I'll give you a shot of this in a little bit. Take and pull the slack up. Make sure everything's on. These are the ones I made many years ago. Piece of flat stock and key stock. Put some ATF4. Fill her up. Hopefully it's just not running out the bottom. and it'll take close to a quart. Quick recap, we're back under the vehicle. Reservoir is full at the moment. This is coming down from the return side of the oil cooler, which would normally return to the reservoir. However, we have that side of the hose plugged with the bolt, and this is coming down to our drain pan. So with the reservoir full, remember where those two O-rings were on that reservoir that we replaced? That is your supply to the pump. And you can see some of our fluid is starting to leak down this hose already. So let's get up there and we're going to start this up. The fluid in the reservoir is going to go into the pump. The pump pressure is going to force it through the rack and pinion, and then it's going to want to try to return to the reservoir, but it's not going to because we bypassed it, and it's going to go into this can. So without further ado, I'm going to leave the camera on this. I'm going to go up top. We're going to start it, and hopefully we don't have any catastrophic events taking place, but if we do, it should make a good video. All right, Tammy, start it up. Hopefully you've seen some fluid come out. I'm going to fill up the reservoir one more time. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. That's going to be quart number 2. Fluid should come out much cleaner this time. Alright, Tammy, start it up briefly. It doesn't take long to push a quart of fluid at that pressure out of these pumps. So hopefully you guys seen that, and hopefully you can see how clean that fluid is now. We're going to put her back together. Okay. It's like an OCD thing I got. It's got to be right back in its original spot. So guys, you'll take pretty much that whole quart. Suck that fluid down quite a bit. I have to grab another quart. Turn back and forth once, put it off. Start it up again. And check the fluid. I'm going to let it down because if you remember correctly, once I had weight on the front, it was very hard to steer. them sit for a little bit. Kind of helps get the air out of it. But as you've seen the way I bled it before I started it, it's just something I've been doing for years. And it seems to work, it seems to help. Otherwise it really likes to foam up. So if you do it like that, it seems to help. So I'm gonna go underneath and check for leaks. When I was inspecting the hoses prior to turning the camera on, I just wanted to make sure we had all the parts ordered. There was some looms over top of the hoses. Keep them from rubbing against each other. So I just cleaned them up a little bit. I'm not seeing any leaks in the low pressure hoses, so we'll take and put these looms back on. And there was also one more in here. It's just like that. That's just the way I found it, so we'll put it back the way I found it. Pretty much just like that. Alright. We'll go upstairs. We'll go up top, we'll check the fluid once more. We'll start it up, we'll raise it up, and then we'll check for leaks. And then we'll call it a day. How about it? Check this fluid one last time prior to starting it. You see, but right there at the full hot, I had it warming up for a little bit. I know this probably wasn't my best video as far as camera shots, but it was really tough getting in some of these angles. Alright, let's give it one more once over. I know it's hard to see, but there's actually plenty of clearance. Real quick, every time I start talking, he starts yapping. Unreal. That time of year again, guys. I wanted to go over this real quick with you. Something as simple as a cap can cause an overpressure issue and create things to leak. So I always try to make a habit, sometimes I forget, but to check the cap and make sure it's good. You'll see that there's two little holes. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, probably not, but there's two little breather holes and they go down through the center of this internal of this cap, and you can see it's not sealed all the way around, and it gives it room to breathe. So I want to show you. I'm going to take a chance and pop this one open. If I have to, I'll get another one. However, it should come right apart. Okay, that just fell out. Well, let me show you how this works. This little rubber usually sits in there like so. So if it goes to suck air in, it won't suck in, but it'll lift up and push air out. I'm not sure if you can see them inside, but that's to help relieve pressure in the reservoir if during expansion. So you want to make sure that those little holes are open. We could clearly see that these ones are, but you could take an air blower, put it in here like so, and just blow those holes out. We'll pop it back together and this one's good to go. Just in case you're curious, I picked up some flank bite wrenches from Astro. They're for helping with strip bolts or whatnot, getting in tight spots. Can't wait to try that. Alright people, there you have it. Going for a nice little ride. Everything feels good. Before it was like driving a tank, and now I could turn it with one finger. That was definitely the problem. Only 109,000 miles on this thing. It's a kind of a shame because it's really a rust bucket already, and it should have a lot of life left into it at 100,000 miles. But it's a work truck. What do you expect? In a rust belt. think we're good, guys.